back with Tony Singh. Tony, how long have you been in business actually?
Well, Four Seasons Fashion is about 20 years old, but I started, like, I had another company, MS Fashion, which was 3 years prior to that when I started. So it's about 23 years.
23 years?
Yes.
Wow. And so your employees, what is the average how long is what is the average amount of time any one of those employees has been with you?
We have currently 5 persons was there from the start in. And we have, most of them is over 10 years or 15 years. So the 5 people who were there from the start in, which was Miss School, and then there are 2 of them. One is retiring the end of this year, the other one is retiring next year, and 2 is still there. So we have, so most of them are there 20 years. So we just celebrated the 20th anniversary for Four Seasons Fashion in the summer. And Miss Kuhu retired from Four Seasons Fashion. And by the way, Four Seasons Fashion did all their paperwork for them to get their green card back earlier back when we could have able to sponsor them. And Miss Kuhu was living in Malaysia. She's living in Malaysia, so she came and I brought her in for that 20th anniversary, which we had a beautiful dinner, lunch, and in the golf course in Brooklyn. Beautiful place. So we brought them in. We brought Miss Kui in. She had a wonderful time. And prior to her going back to Malaysia, she suffered a slight stroke, and it was very emotional for me, for her, because she was one of the important persons in my business that helped me to be where I am today. Because she was the technician, because I was learning at the time. So she was the technician, and she taught even the current manager there, she taught her how to be a manager. And right now we currently have 3 managers. So so all the workers there are there for a very long time. If they have a problem, like we have a presser whose son went to Mexico a few years ago, he ate some pork, he had a bacteria, he died. He didn't have money to bury his son. I paid for the funeral. That's the kind of things that I would do for my people, because without them we can't make money. I always tell them, I says, look, you need me and I need you. So if I have a ton of work and I have no workers, how am I going to be a successful businessman?
Miss School, right?
Yeah.
What was she? Let me ask you a question this way, and I'm going to bring in your appearance in this one.
Yeah.
If you overheard your parents and Miss School telling a stranger about you, how do you think each of them would describe you? Let's start with Mom. What would she say?
My mother, I mean, she is, my mother is very proud of me, very much. She would tell people, look, my son worked really hard. He's one of the hardest working person she knows. She knows that I get up early in the morning, I go to work, I come home. So she knows that my success comes from the work that I do. And she will tell people, look, my son, he works hard, but he's a very kind-hearted man. He'll help anyone who has a need. I'm always there. Miss School would say the same thing about me. But I'll tell you a story about my dad. My dad was in the hospital. And my dad, so he was in the hospital. I went one day to see him. And I heard he was telling the nurse or the doctor or somebody, you know, I have 11 children. I got a son who has this big business. So he's really proud of our accomplishment, even though that he realized that he made a lot of mistakes when he was younger, by drinking, and prior to his death, he stopped drinking, and he tried to be the best father that he could have done. As a child growing up, I never hear my dad say, "I love you, son." But on his dying bed, he said, "Son, I love you." And those are moments, and he was very proud of not only my achievement, but all of my siblings' achievements, because we came to New York. when your father drinks a lot, people has low esteem about you. Your children will never become anything.
Yes.
But my mom always thought that, hard work, go to school, you guys are gonna make it. And we are 11 brothers and sisters, and I think that today each and every one of us should say that we have done well.
Tony, if you weren't doing this today as a career, what other career you think you would have tried?
If I wasn't doing this as a career, as I think I would have been in some form of business, because my mindset always about to become an entrepreneur, not to live in the state that I knew what I was growing up as a child, because I never wanted my children to go through the hardship that I went through. So I always wanted to make sure that my children have enough to eat, enough to wear, enough and a roof over their head. So I always thought that I would one day, and I sincerely pray about this. Lord, take me out of poverty. Break the spirit of poverty out of me. And, I know that God has done, it's not all about me. I know God has helped me through this journey.
When, Tony, when did your faith become this strong? Was it a gradual thing along your journey in life, or do you remember a moment when you came to this realization? Wait a minute. Yeah.
I can go back from my early teen years, back in Guyana, where I was born in, and in Kitty, where I grew up. My dad used to drink a lot. He comes home very abusive, verbally, sometimes could be physically abusive, and it always bothered me. And I said, and all your friends around the neighborhood, their parents drinking, they're driving Drake carts, and and you see the children falling under the same way their father is. They'll drink, they'll do the same. And I said, and I purpose in my heart, I never want to be like that. I said, but I was looking for something that would help me not to be like that, because when you're in a crowd, you tend to follow the crowd. And I want to stand out. I want to be different. And I didn't know how I could be different, because seeing you living on this condition, every night you come home, your dad would come home, drink, he talk all night, you can't sleep. My sister, them studying, they can't study. It was one of those things. And I always wanted to be different. So there was a crusade in the village, and I just went there, and I immediately realized this is what's gonna help me to become the man that I want to be. And growing up as a young man in church.
Hold on. I want to expand on that a little, open that up a little, because faith and belief is something that are very important to us, to all of us.
Yes.
People sometimes they miss the mark of it. Do you remember a particular thing that was said, or was it the atmosphere that led you to that conclusion? Was there a particular phrase, a particular statement, a particular word that triggered this for you?
I think the atmosphere was very good. I felt good when I was there. I felt, the minister says, I think the word he says, if you want changes in your life, you have to come to the Lord. And I was like, what can the Lord change in my life in the situation that I am in? And I hold on that, and the atmosphere was so good that I met some friends, some guys that was going to church, and it helped me to build my faith. And through my faith, I always feel that, when you read the Word of God, beloved above all things, thou shalt prosper and be in good health. Your soul shall prosper, and even you'll prosper materially, and in every area in your life you'll prosper. And one of the things that I purpose is that whenever I get children, I don't want my children to suffer, to go through the struggles that I went through. I want to make them good. So those are the things that drive me to become the person that I am.
While you're on this vein, Tony, and I'm glad I got you here. What are 5 things, 5 principles that you adhere to that sort of, if not guaranteed, but aligns you with success? What are 5 rules for Tony?
5 rules for Tony to be successful. The key one, I would say, hard work.
Mhm.
Because if you don't work hard, you can't be successful. Be honest,
Honesty.
be truthful to yourself and to others.
And others.
Because if you're true to yourself and deceitful to others, you're really not truthful.
Yes.
So that's 3 I name, right? And my faith helps me to become the person I am. You know, believe. Yeah, you have to believe.
Are you very self-critical?
Of myself.
Yes, meaning you're keen on quality and excellence. That's what drives you.
Yes.
Are you hard on yourself?
Yes. And I love to when people criticize what we do
Yes.
because it helps us to become better
I like
at the
that.
things that we
I
do.
like that.
Because criticism makes you better. Sometimes people don't like criticism because it takes you. Like, for instance, I run into a young man who started a line recently, and he came up to me to show me some of the stuff that he does. And I said to him, I want to be honest with you. Your stuff, the designs are beautiful, but your quality is not the standard. So you really can't show this quality to a buyer. They're not going to take it. You know, if it's high end, you want to go into certain price points, they're not going to look at it. And I said, when I finished speaking to him, I said, you think you appreciate what I said, or you're angry with me or upset with me? And he says, I took it a little hard, but I said, but look, I'm trying to make you better. And he's like, then he came back 2 days later and he says, Tony, you're right. You know, what you told me, you were correct. And I like that, you know, and I like when people tell me,
Yeah.
like even at the food pantry, I told the volunteers, if you ever see me say something out of place, please, I am human just like you. I am not bigger than you. You are not bigger than me. Just tell me, look, Tony, what you did was wrong, and I will try to correct it.
What are most people surprised to learn about you when they get to know you?
When people get to know me, one of the things that I don't put myself into, you know, like people, they gain a little material gains, or they have a little business, or they have something, a better car than somebody else, and they try to, you know, to make other people look small, or look like, oh man, I was a big guy, I got a car, I got this, I got that, or, you know, I always want to humble myself. I always put people, I tell people, like I'll tell you a story with one of my workers, you know. One of my person was very disgruntled, and I don't know why he was disgruntled, and he was like not too happy. So I called him one day, and I was talking to him. I said, come on, let's talk. What's your problem? And he said to me, Tony, you know, you got a lot of money. I says, why do you think I have a lot of money? And he says, listen, I might have $1 more than you in the bank, but it doesn't make me different than you, because when you cut me and you cut you're Spanish and I'm Indian, we'll see red blood bleeding.
Yeah.
What's your problem? And he wanted a raise. That's what's his problem. And I said, well, why don't you come to me and tell me you need a raise? You don't have to have an attitude about it, you know. Because I understand that crisis things, you know.
Yes.
And since I gave him the raise, he's one of my best workers.
All you have to do is ask.
All you have to do is ask, and that's what, you know. If I want something from you, I'm gonna ask you for it. I'm not gonna steal. And look, I got about 60 people working in the factory. We got all kind of people: Hispanic, Chinese, you know, different Mexicans, Ecuadorians, and because of what I tell them, I say, you need something, you ask me. I never had anything missing or stolen from my factory. Never. Because if they need something, they'll come and ask, and I'll give it to them.
Yes.
And that's it. Because if you run a company and you have people that are afraid of you or can't speak to you as the owner or as the boss, then what they do? They'll steal from you.
Yeah, they will steal.
You know,
I want to get us in before we close. Your pantry the Calvary Mission
Yeah.
Food Pantry. Tell us a little bit about how did that come about?
Calvary's Mission Food Pantry, it came about, we were in a Bible study one weekend, one Wednesday night, and a group of friends of ours, and we were talking about how can we help. You know, in our church we had a lot of people coming from the Caribbean, and you know, when you first landed in America, any little thing you need for a help.
Yes.
Because you don't find a job anywhere. Sometimes you come to families and they don't treat you the way they're supposed to. You expect to be treated, you know. They'll tell you come, and then when you get here, it's a different story because everybody's struggling. So we had people coming to the church, and we said, you know, a few of us, we were praying, and then, you know, one of the guys came with the idea, why don't we make a few hampers and give to these new people that come into church? And we all agreed, and we pooled money together. We would go to Costco and we'll buy stuff
like that? How long ago was this?
I think maybe the Lord leaded upon our hearts to do that. So we start identifying families that come in, just coming from Guyana or from Trinidad or wherever, and we would make a hamper and we'll give it to them.
When did it start?
That started 1998.
Since then?
Yes, 1998.
What has been most rewarding to you personally about being able to give, being able to do something like this?
Okay. I always tell my kids, if you're never hungry, you'll never know how the next person feels. As a child growing up, I remember nights that we didn't have much. So my mom would go to bed hungry, and she'll make sure her children eat. And I remember nights where we didn't have. So for me, hunger is an important part in my life. And able to give back. So when we started this Calvary's Mission, 1998, we had to fund this organization for a year to prove to the city of New York that we can do this. So we start going, you know, taking our own personal money and go and buy these groceries, and we will make like 20 bags, 30 bags, and we will share to the family. Then it start extending to the community. And so from those 20 bags, within a year we grew to 200 people. So we start getting more and more stuff. Another friend of mine had a pantry. We went to him. He started giving us stuff. We started pantry in 1998. So we got our 501c3 2008.
Congrats.
So we're a 501c3 pantry. You know. So we're feeding about, well, in 2001 we were feeding 1,000 families a week. We are one of the largest pantry in Queens.
In a week?
Yeah, we are. Yes.
And where's this from?
It's in Richmond Hill, Queens.
How can people get in touch with you?
They can on Facebook, or they can call me. Okay, on Facebook. They can see me on Facebook. Yes.
And what is the
Calvary's Mission Food Pantry.
Calvary
Missions Food Pantry.
Missions Food Pantry.
Yeah. It's located in 102 1689 Avenue, Richmond Hill.
This seemed like a redundant question, but how is volunteering and donating satisfying to you?
Volunteering. We take volunteer. You have to be willing and ready to serve. So if you have a heart of compassion and you're willing to serve and you're ready, you know, you can come there and volunteer. If you want to donate, because a lot of our funding come from private donors.
Yes.
We partnership up with the City of New York, City Harvest, the Food Bank. So if anybody wants to donate to Calvary's Mission Food Pantry, we're willing to take donations because we got a lot of private donors. We are operating out of a church at this moment. We're planning to we're trying to raise funds to put a new location where we can do more than just handing a bag of food, because you know, in New York City they said 2 out of every 5 New Yorkers go to hungry every day. and this is not our statistics, this is New York State statistics, the mayor office this came out of. 2 out of every five persons depend on the food
what is
industry.
this? What is your mission? What would you, if you were sitting in front of me 5 years from now,
Mm.
what would you like to be telling me about this country as an accomplishment?
I would tell you about the food pantry accomplishment because of everyday experience, seeing people and knowing the people that you are making a difference in someone's life. I can tell you stories after stories where I go to homes, and when I go to those people homes and we deliver, people will call me up and says, "Oh, sorry, we don't have no food. Can you help us and bring something for us?" We'll go to those homes, and you can see those kids are just waiting for you to deliver something so that they can get a meal to eat. And we're talking about it in the United States of America, and how we do exist in this environment that we live in. Like a lot of times I would say that the program is for the working poor, because
The work.
our clientels, they're working, but it's difficult for them to.
This whole idea, this whole adage that people must pull themselves up from the bootstraps, or people who are reaching out for assistance, are people who are generally lazy and they should be able to do better.
No.
But we were seeing these are working people
These are working.
who are finding it very difficult to make ends meet.
Yes.
I want to come back to this, but there's something that just that I want to ask you, going back to the whole manufacturing, and especially conversation with the young man
Mhm.
who started the line. You're Guyanese, Tony.
Yes.
You are experienced. You're knowledgeable in this industry.
Yes.
When you look at Guyanese fashion
Mhm.
design, so you look at the
Yeah.
clothing, what goes through your mind? What
Um,
are
well,
you?
I have a very good friend, Roger Gary,
Yes.
who's a designer, and he always come by my office and we would talk from time to time. Very close brother of mine, love him a lot. But I always tell Roger, when I look at the Guyanese, the workmanship they put out,
Mhm.
it's not quality enough to be marketable enough,
Mhm.
because they lack the skills. I mean, I would, from time to time, Guyanese workers would come, people that my cousin might say, "Oh, this guy was a sewing guy and he used to make this garment," and they're operators, they can sew. Well, sadly to say that, when they come and you put them on the machine, or you put them, number one, they're not up to date with the machinery. They're back in those old pedal machines, or the blackhead, they're not up to date. So when I see the way they work, or the stuff they do, it bothers me to know that, Guyana, I think we have the population there where we can do some training programs, teach them because you look at China, you look at all the other countries that are producing garments, like Vietnam and all those places, even Haiti. I mean, I got a suit from Haiti. It was made in Haiti, and I was surprised to see the quality that came out there. It was really beautifully made. It looked like an Italian garment in Haiti. So, I think Guyana need to get, the people in Guyana who's sewing need to understand the quality. I think maybe they probably might not have the right equipment or the right foot to put the zipper in, because I see some zippers set in, it's like awful, and stuff. So I think that they need a lot of training there in if they want to make an impact in the fashion industry. They need to be trained.
It's not the design, it's the fit.
No, designs are wonderful,
Yeah.
because designs are nice, but I think that I saw a young man was making some dresses, and I saw the quality of the baby hem. They don't understand how to do a French seam, or a proper baby hem, or a flat felt seam, or stuff. There's things that they need to improve on. They've just freehand cut the garment. They don't work with patterns. They don't understand a notch. I mean, I remember a few years ago, Roger and I did a seminar in Barbados, where the designers there, I took down some patterns, some blueprints of patterns, like some pants, some skirts, and ask the guy to tell me which is the front or which is the back. It was very difficult because they just know, and they just cut by hand and make, So I look at that and I said, in the Caribbean we need more training to be up to date in America and in the other parts of the world and making garments.
Wow. I know you've traveled. If you were to go to a favorite place, with your favorite drink, your favorite thing to read, your favorite music, where would this place be?
I would go back home.
You go back home?
Yes.
What would you be drinking, Jordan?
Some coconut water.
It's my favorite. What music will you be listening to?
Well, I like gospel music.
Okay.
So I'll be listening to some nice
Gospel.
gospel.
What's your favorite thing to read?
I like to read history. I like to go back and look at the history of Guyana, look at things that history is important because when I went to Rome, I went to the Colosseum, and by reading the Bible and seeing all those Roman movies back in the days, it helps you to understand. You look, I'm here.
Yeah.
And it brings back a lot of history, a lot of memories for the things.
I noticed you said Guyana, not Barbados.
Yeah, my wife is from Barbados. She might be angry with me, but I felt.
Tell her, blame it to the Roger.
No, I wouldn't do my friend Roger that. But my wife, I go every year to Guyana around Thanksgiving because I do take food down there. I take clothing and I do a lot of stuff down in Guyana. Even though I do in New York, I do some of it because I always want to give back home. I always want to give to my hometown. Like last year, we sent down wheelchair, walkers, baby pampers. Because there's an orphanage behind.
Where?
Pleasance, the one in Pleasance.
Boys?
Yeah, the boys thing, the Bascom home.
I'm glad you mentioned this because
last year, I didn't go this year. My mom went and she fulfilled what I was doing. Last year we gave them about 200 pairs of shoes, and then the Red Cross behind Culture Center, our little children hospital there, we support that. And then there's 3 or 4 churches in the SQ River that we in the Cameroon area that we give.
I'm especially interested in the orphanage. A young man I interviewed a few months ago, Alex Bondry. He's telling me about this orphanage in Pleasance. And one of the things I want to do for the audience, one of the things that CWS is doing, we are celebrating our 5th anniversary next year, the first week in July. And the reason why we are doing this in Guyana, because I think it is important for us to say thank you to those who have gone before us, those who have made enormous sacrifice to ensure that we had a proper education and we were nurtured when we were young. In other words, to say thank you to our ancestors. And one of the things I would like to do is to donate. This is a fundraiser for CWS so that we can expand and continue this program in a major way. But it's to make some donations to orphanages. So Tony, you mentioning the one in Pleasance, this is the second time it came up. We're going to talk offline so I can get some details about that. But one of the, I just have a few more questions for you before we close off. What still surprises you about the manufacturing industry?
What surprises me now?
Yes.
In the manufacturing industry. Well, one of the surprises is a lot of the jobs are going overseas. Because right now there's a shortage of work in the United States. And we hope that the new president will bring it back, as he says. And I don't know how possible that's going to be. But, in every business has challenges. Mm-hmm. It has its ups and it has its downs. And you always have to be prepared for plan B when these things happen. And, I was discussing with Roger today that we probably are starting to think about a plan B. I was talking to my son-in-law earlier today too, um, about what we're going to do in plan B. And, we have a few ideas that we were running with. And, but I think fashion in New York would always be here.
You think so?
I think so. And for the service that I provide, I think there's always a need for me to be here. Because there's not too many of us like that in the industry right now.
And you're well so. Who are some of the clients, if you can talk about that you have?
Well, one of the things that I learned not to do is to disclose the clientele that we work for.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, we work for the really high end thing. I mean, the cheapest bands they will sell for like $1,500. Dresses we got for $3,000, $4,000 US dollars on the retail market. So you get a sense of what kind of garments. I can tell you that we used to work for Donna Karen, who just went out of business, and she was one of the top designers.
When are you most happy?
When I'm spending time with my grandkids.
You spoil them, Tony?
Always.
Wow. Roger's laughing. Roger's telling the truth, huh? What are you most thankful for?
I'm very thankful and very grateful for the way that, from where I came from and where I am today. And I'm always looking back from where I came from, because one of the things that I learned and I see in this society that we live in America, I mean, I've come across a lot of Guyanese who have made a fortune, but they never look back. The same friends I had when I didn't have anything, I still have them today. And that speaks volume. Because you know what? It tells me that you know what? The few dollars that you earn didn't change you. Because a lot of times we allow whatever we make, if we are in a bed, we drive in a bigger car, we're better than our friend who has that old little car, or so for me, I think the things that I do, like food pantry, feeding, that's a passion for me. And the Bible said the only thing a man can leave is a good name. And I think when I pass on, that I'm hoping that our food pantry will live on, because I just purchased a building that we're gonna be raising fund to build a structure in that building.
Awesome.
So that food pantry would always be there.
What are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of I could say I'm very proud of my 3 daughters. I have 3 beautiful daughters. One is getting married and she's going to Barbados, so I'm
Congratulations.
To live. But I'm very proud of my children. I'm very proud of them. And I think every parent should be proud of their children, despite whatever their accomplishments are. Some kids mightn't do well, but as a parent, you should be proud of them.
If you could go back in time, what would you tell that 16-year-old boy?
Well, one of the things that I said, I have a very good friend of mine, Herb Olson. He's an educator, and he teaches here. He was back in Guyana. He was when I got my visa. I know that there's a friend of mine for like 40 years, and I always tell him, I says, Herb, if I had the opportunity to go to school and make myself, and he says, Tony, never put yourself down, because I always feel that I didn't have the ability, or I always be fearful for like talking on camera or doing what I'm doing now, because I thought that my grammar is not good enough, my vocabulary mightn't be the right word I'm saying. And he says to me, Tony, your accomplishment is more than the 2 degrees that I have, because I don't even have half the things that you have. And so I think that as a 16-year-old, remembering that, I always thought that, if I have a better education, I'll be in a better position. But I've seen a lot of my friends who has better education than me, but they're not in the position that I am in because they're struggling. I'm not saying that I'm not struggling, but I'm in still a better position. But I really thank God for having me here. This is not by me. This is not by myself. This is the help of the Lord. And I always tell my children, the things that I have is a loan to me from God. And if I don't use it wisely, it will be taken back from me.
What makes you laugh out loud?
Spending time with my children.
Okay.
One of the things that I enjoy doing, I remember when my daughters then were young, I worked 14, 15 hours a day. So when I never had time to spend with them. But I remember when Sundays I don't work, I go to church with them. And they were young, and we in church, and I have 3 girls lying on me, and one brace sleeping on the shoulder, the other one sleeping in the shoulder at church. And then when we finish, we go to the mall, and that's the best time. I would just let them let loose and get whatever they want to get, and those are the memories of good memories of me that I enjoy, and now I'm enjoying that with my grandkids.
I have to read a few things on the chat room. Mark said, very inspirational, Sheldon. Thank you, Mark. And M said, much respect, prove that anything is possible once you put your mind to it.
Thank you.
Tony, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is Selvin Collins saying, fear not what fear whispers to you. Fear your obedience to it. And thank you for tuning in.